Hi, I'm Heather Robson with Wealthy Web Writer, and I am happy to have Brian Edmondson joining me today. Brian, I know a lot of our members are already familiar with you. They're familiar with your advice on list building. But if you could, real quick, just kind of give us a little bit of background for those that are meeting you for the first time, that would be a great way to start.
All right, perfect. Plenty of places to start. I'd say, as you mentioned, I am known as a list building expert, which I think really is one of the most valuable things you can learn as far as growing a business, any type of business. So if you're a copywriter growing your own business, it's also an extremely valuable tool to help your clients grow their businesses as well. Many of your readers may be familiar with the term, the money's in the list, and it really is true. So it's a huge opportunity for both copywriters and their clients.
Excellent. Well, I have heard you say before that really, if you want to have a business, you need to have traffic, you need to have the list, and then you need to have conversions. So the first question I want to ask you is, so for any of our members who are just starting to think about building their list, or they have a client who really doesn't have a list to speak of, what are your 3 favorite ways to drive traffic in the first place to start building that list?
That's a great question. And to preface that, a lot of people do only focus on those 2 main things, the traffic and the sales. So most of the people I consult with, it's one of 2 questions. Brian, how do I get more traffic to my website? Or Brian, how do I get more sales? And nobody really even thinks about the list building part of it, the email marketing part of it. So with that said, though, to answer your question as far as traffic, there's so many ways to drive traffic, literally, dozens and dozens of ways. Usually, so first I'll give you the vague answer, then I'll give you some specifics. The way I usually like to ask clients to think about that is to first play to their strengths. So what is it that they currently like to do that they could use as a traffic source? So if you love to write and you like writing, then certainly writing articles, guest posts, and things like that, that's a great way to drive traffic. If you're more of a talker and you don't like to write as much, well, then there's opportunities to be interviewed on podcasts or do radio shows, things of that nature. And then finally, what we're doing here, there are some people that, believe it or not, actually love being on video and have no problems doing talking head type videos, interviews like we're doing here. So if video is your strength, then you could create video and drive traffic with video content. So that's usually the starting point. I try to get clients to play to their strengths as far as growing traffic. With that said, what I'll say specifically is right now, I do think that leveraging other websites, other people who already have platforms that get a lot of traffic that's related to your market, integrate with those platforms. So for example, if there's a really popular blog in your marketplace, maybe I can do a guest post with this blog. Or maybe there's somebody who has a very popular podcast. Well, maybe I can be interviewed on their podcast. Those are some great free methods. And finally, I'll mention is paid traffic. Right now, I strongly believe that Facebook doing paid advertising. So when most people think of Facebook, they think of social media and free stuff, wasting a lot of time. But actually, you can do paid advertising on Facebook, and I think it's a huge opportunity for solopreneurs, entrepreneurs right now. It's a huge opportunity.
All right, excellent advice. Lots to think about there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But really, traffic is just the first step to list building. I mean, you've actually, once you've got them on your site, you need to convince them that they should part with their contact information. They should give you a name and an email address. And I know you recommend offering an incentive, like a sign-up bonus. What's working best right now in terms of that sign-up bonus? For the longest time, it was the special report. Is it still the special report, or are other things starting to work better?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of times we find in online marketing that things are constantly changing. I mean, business is moving at the speed of light with online marketing, but a lot of times the fundamentals stay the same. So what you were just saying, the idea of giving a free offer, incentivizing people to want to opt into the list, that's definitely a best practice. These days, as technology continues to advance, of course, you see people giving away videos, video courses, webinars, teleseminars, lots of different ways to do multimedia. But I still say that one of the easiest ways to create a free offer, one of the most accessible types of free offers that you can create, is the tried and true free special report.
All right.
And I say that's one of the most powerful 3 words in marketing and list building is free special report.
Excellent. I bet our listeners love to hear that because they're writers. And so that's right in their wheelhouse. So I'm wondering, so obviously you need to have a great special report. What are some of the other critical elements in getting people to actually part with that contact information and sign up?
That's a great question. There's lots of ways you can, prominently display this free offer on your website. Mm-hmm. So one common mistake I'll see is that even if people do have a sign-up form or some type of list-building device on their website, it's like it's hidden somewhere on some page that's buried deep in the website. Maybe it's at the bottom of the website. Yeah. Ideally, on your website, what's called above the fold, mm-hmm. you want to prominently display this free offer, make it very obvious on the website. Another best practice is to have an image created. So a nice graphical image, maybe like a cover. Even though in most cases it's a digital download, it's great to have a free, a graphical cover to represent the image, make it pop off the website.
Okay.
So yeah, that works extremely well.
Very good advice. All right, so we're building our lists. We're getting people to sign up. What advice do you have about engaging that list? I mean, I've actually talked to writers whose clients are afraid to email their list because they're worried about somebody, unsubscribing. Mm-hmm. So you've got to actually do something with that list once you have it. So what do you recommend? How do you engage that list? How often do you ask for sales? Yep. What do you do there?
That's a great question. All things equal, and this I know right off the bat, this may make some people feel uncomfortable hearing it, but all things equal, the more emails that you send, the more money you're going to make.
Okay.
Now, of course, there's a balance. So we've all signed up for email lists where you sign up and all it is just pitch after pitch after pitch. And that can kind of seem aggressive or turn people off. There's no value being given, so there's no balance. But on the other hand, the other extreme mistake you can make is one of two things. You can either not email your list at all, which a lot of people do. I have this list and I never email it. Or all you do is give content and you never ask for a sale. Mm-hmm. And that's not really serving the business well or yourselves well at all. So email often, give good value content, and mix in sales pitches. Don't be afraid to sell. Mm-hmm. So ideally, it varies for lots of businesses. I mean, we know the most successful businesses in the world email their list several times a week, sometimes every day of the week, sometimes multiple days every day of the week. Mm-hmm. For the average entrepreneur, solopreneur, somebody maybe starting up or working from home, that may not be doable. But I say most people, if you can, try to commit to emailing your list at least one time a week. Mm-hmm. That way you're staying in touch with them, your top of mind awareness, and when they're ready for what you have to offer, you'll be there front and center.
All right. Okay, so that is a ton of great information. I'm going to pull back a little bit, ask you a couple more general questions. So what's your favorite thing about what you do?
Great question. One thing I do, part of it is self-serving, and part of it is being able to serve others. Mm-hmm. So I definitely value the freedom and the lifestyle that working from home affords me. Working when I want, with who I want, not having to answer to anybody. And I mean, it's a great lifestyle. You can't complain. And the money's not bad either.
Good.
But on top of that, I mean, I really do enjoy, I think naturally I'm a teacher. Mm-hmm. I love to train people, and just seeing them take that information and applying it and making a difference in their lives, for their clients' lives. When you hear somebody come back to you and say, Brian, I heard your training on this. I actually did this, and here was the result. That's one of the most rewarding things you can have in business is, wow, people are actually doing this stuff, and they're getting great results with it. So, yeah, absolutely.
Good. All right, so one of the big things that I know, particularly people that are newer to something, worry about is that they're going to make a mistake. They're going to have a misstep. So what do you have to say about making mistakes?
Make mistakes, make many mistakes, make them early and often. Embrace failure. I think that's one of the keys. That's why I think it's one of the key takeaways between what makes someone a winner and what makes someone a champion versus somebody who fails to reach their dreams. A great analogy I love to give is using a boxing analogy. So if you go in a boxing match, and you get knocked down once and you don't get up, you're a loser. If you get knocked down and you get up again, and you get knocked down and you get up again, you're a fighter. If you get knocked down and get up, knocked down, get up, knocked down, get up and win, you're a champion. And that's all it is just being persistent, keep moving forward, learn from your mistakes and failures. And especially in our business of copywriting, online marketing, testing campaigns, expect that you're probably going to fail 8 times out of every 10. But it's worth it, because when you get the winners are really winners. So embrace failure and learn from it.
Excellent. All right, so my favorite question. What is the question I haven't asked you that I should?
That's a great question. You know what? A lot of people like to end the questions with share something interesting or personal people don't know. So I am unashamedly a huge Engelbert Humperdinck fan. And why I share that, why it's strange for a lot of people, Engelbert Humperdinck, but it's a great teaching point too. So backstory is quickly, I'm a huge Elvis Presley fan.
Okay.
Love his music. And I was on YouTube one day searching for, concerts and songs by Elvis. And I found a YouTube video where Engelbert Humperdinck was doing a cover song of Elvis. And I watched the free video and became a huge fan. And now I actually go to his concerts. I've done the backstage experiences.
Neat.
And the quick teaching point from that is the idea of putting out free content. And this goes back to the very first question with traffic generation, writing free articles, guest posting, putting out videos. And the idea is that this guy, had content, free video, put it out there. That's how I discovered him. And now I'm probably one of his higher end constant paying customers. And that really is the magic of online marketing and being found, and how that can, convert free prospects into lifelong customers.
Excellent story.
So, yep. Engelbert Humperdinck, check out Welcome to My World, hysterical video.
I will definitely look that up. All right, so for our listeners, if they want to get in touch with you, if they want to follow you, how would they do that?
Yeah, these days, especially with social media and things, it's really easy to find me. So first, I'll give a shameless plug for my website.
Go for it.
Which is internetincomecoach.com. And of course, if you just look up Brian Edmondson on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc., it's very easy to connect.
Good. All right, so parting advice for our viewers.
Parting advice. Well, I know here at AWAI, there's a ton of great resources, a ton of training. There's a lot of free content. There's a lot of fantastic events people can attend, courses. I would just say, take action on the information. We can spend all day learning and learning and learning. And I'm the same way. I think we all are. We all love to learn, and we love to consume information, but nothing happens until you take action. So, and I've heard amazing, life-changing stories from all the attendees I met at this event, how it first started with just learning and trying one thing and maybe, failing a couple times, but then all of a sudden something life-changing happens. So take action on the information, embrace the failure like we discussed, and wonderful things can happen.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. My pleasure.